Welcome back, and let's continue with the series of Python by WsCubeTech. I'm Nehal, and this particular video will talk about how you can insert queries. Alright, so in the previous tutorial, we saw about how you can connect your Python programs with the database and the database that we are using is SQLite 3. Alright, and what we simply did is that we had written this code. Alright, so we just imported this module, that is SQLite, and we made use of this try, except, and finally block in order to handle our exceptions. And we even saw that how you can create a table. First we saw that how you can just create a database, how you can by using this connect method. Then we made use of this cursor object. Then basically what we did is that we made use of this execute method, and inside this execute method we wrote this query, that is in order to create the table of name student. Alright, so we just did this create table student, and inside this we passed this two column name, that is the student name, which is of type str, and this is of student roll number, that is of int. And we made use of this commit method to simply save our changes. And inside this what we are handling the error, so we simply said that student table already exists. If by suppose you run this more than one time, so it will simply say that it or the table which you have created already exists. And the finally we wrote this statement that finally you just close our database connection. And we even saw that in order to view this data, we make use of this DB browser. And inside this we had opened our database, and I have even told you about how you can get that path, and you can just open the database from here. And this was a database that we created, but it has no entries over here. So in this browse data you are seeing nothing over here. Now in this tutorial we are going to see that how you can insert the queries, that is how you can store data into your database. So let's head over to our PyCharm over here. And now simply what I want to do is inside this execute method, now I want to write here my insert query. So what I will simply say that insert into student. So I will just clear this thing. I will say insert into student. Alright. And inside my student I want to enter this S name, but we'll just remove this type. So I want to enter the S name and the roll number, student roll number. Alright, and after this I will just say values, because I have to pass the values. I have to put the entries inside my database, and inside this values in this rounded brackets what I will just pass the values. So my first value is, suppose that I'm passing the name as Tina. Alright, and let's say her roll number is 01. Fine. So these are nothing but the values which I'm passing. And what I'm simply going to do is this all thing is fine. All right. And inside this successfully, I will just say that the data has been entered. So I will just change this. Okay. Data entered. And now I will just simply run this. So you can see I have just run over here, and it says that data entered over here. And I will just head over to my DB browser over here, and I will just say refresh. And you can see here it has been added this. It says Tina and her roll number is 1 over here. Now if you, similarly you can add as many as data as you want. So I will just go over here, and you can simply just write this entire query again and again, or simply you can just make the changes over here. So what I will do, I will just change the values over here. Say instead of Tina, now I want to say Ravi. So Ravi is my second values of S name, and his roll number is 2. Alright, and I will just run this thing, and it says data entered over here. Let's head over to our DB browser and just refresh it. So you can see it says Ravi 2. So this is how you insert data into your database over here. So likewise you can just simply go on, like now suppose if I just write over here that Pratik and his roll number is 3, and you just run from over here, and you will see that it says that data enter. This is the reason why I made use of this print statement as it last, because this will just give you a message that yes, the code which you have written has run successfully over here, and it is just displaying you. So if this gets displayed over here, you need to be sure that everything works fine, and you can just head over to your DB browser, and once you refresh over here, you can see that third entry over here, and this is your database structure. And as you just click over here, you can see that this you have created the table name with student, and these were the fields we have added, and inside this browse data you can see the number of records you are storing over here into your database, the values. This is of S name and this is of S roll number, that is the column name which we have created in the first tutorial, that create table student. And inside that we had just simply passed this S name and S number, and we even passed the data type of it. And in this video, what we are basically doing is we have learned that how you can insert the data into your database. So we'll just quickly do a quick recap over here. So in this video, what we have studied, like in the first video we studied that how to create a table, and in this video we studied how to insert the data into your table. So inside this execute, you simply need to write this insert into student, this query, that is insert into your table name, and inside this you are passing this fields, that is the column name, that is the S name and S number, which you have already created in your first wave by making use of the create table query. And now you are simply passing the values. So in this case, you can just pass the values, you can just change this, and you can just run it, and it will just get added into your database. And as I said, this commit method is very necessary, because why this commit method simply says that you are making the changes into your database, so you need to save that thing. If you just don't write this thing, it won't be saved. And if I suppose say if I just run this again, so once again we'll go over here and we'll just simply just refresh it. So you can see it is getting printed the same data thing. So this was all about how you can insert data into your database. I hope you're clear with this thing, and this is the reason why we are going step by step, so that you don't face any problem over here, because you know, it looks like it is a simple thing, but you need to follow this thing step by step. And if you just follow and go it this way sequentially, like what you want to do, just understand this thing that first you need to import a module, then you need to just establish a connection, and in order to do this you need to pass the parameter, and this inside this parameter you have to pass like which by what name you want to create a DB, and don't forget to give this the extension, that is .db. And as soon as you run over here, you know, if I already told you about this thing, that if this particular database exists in your database with the same name, it will just going to connect with that thing. But if it doesn't exist, this will create the new database for you with this name. The next thing what we did is we created a cursor object over here by using the connection object. All right, and then what we did is we made use of this execute method, and in order to execute our query, we are making use of this execute method. Inside this we are just firing our queries. So in the first step, in the first video, we have fired the query about creating the table with the name student, and we passed the two column name inside this, and we even mentioned that of what data type it is, whether it is of str or int. We even passed that thing inside that, and we made use of this commit in order to make save our changes. The next what we did is like in order to close our connection, we made use of this thing that just close, because whenever you just open any resources, it should be make sure that you just simply close it, so that you don't lose any of the data and files inside this. So it is a good practice that whenever you just open a file or any resource, you need to just close it. So we have just closed our database connection over here, and at the end we are simply saying that whatever the message we are saying, that this message simply just give us the assurance that the entire code has run successfully over here. And we have just made use of this try except finally block, thus only because to handle our exceptions over here. Now in this case, if now we are just inserting a query, so you can just insert your queries through this execute command, and inside this you can just change up the values, and simply you can just run it, and you can just go to your DB browser and check for the result inside this. So you can see that this many entries has been made inside your database. I hope so you're clear with these things. And in the next video, we'll see about the other queries, what you can do with this database. All right. So thanks for watching.